right. Today, Monday, 16th of January, is Blue Monday, the most depressing day of the year. Now, with that in mind, I'd say planning or booking your holiday is a great way to get through today, right? Now, World Travel Market have revealed in a new survey, all right, that China, India, Iceland, and Cuba is the 2017 holiday hotspot for you to check out, all right? So joining me in the studio this morning to talk some more about this from World Travel Market is Paul Nelson. Good morning, Paul.
Morning.
How are we this morning, sir?
Oh, well, I'm a bit depressed, to be honest. The journey here was wet and it was, crowded on the train. And I did actually get my credit card bill this morning, so I had a proper Blue Monday.
Well, I'm not as fortunate as you, actually. And the fact that we're talking holidays perked me up a bit. Right. So let's look at 2017. The survey suggests that the hotspots are China. Why? Why have China, India? Why are we looking at these Oriental exotic places?
Well, it's a mixing trend, really. So you've got the kind of the more local environment from Europe and North Africa, in the sense that, a lot of these countries, because of what's happened there, are kind of out of bounds in the sense that the Foreign and Commonwealth Office won't let us travel there. Or, there's been issues which means that us as tourists are kind of reluctant to go there. And then the flip side to that is that the tour operators and the aircraft manufacturers are investing in really comfortable long-haul aeroplanes. Okay. So we're seeing that a lot of the capacity is moving from that kind of short to mid-haul to some of the long-haul destinations, such as China and India and Mexico and Cuba, etc. So we're all travelling further afield. And then the flip side to that is, of course, particularly for China and India, that they're two sets of holidaymakers that are really keen on coming over to London and coming over to England. So the capacity for these planes and the routes between the two countries is increasing dramatically.
Brilliant. So it's a two-way thing in the end then, right? So, we can go to a long-haul destination, and they can come to the UK. So it's beneficial for everybody, right?
Very much so. I mean, from the airline's perspective, they know they've got two sets of passengers, effectively. It's not just dropping us Brits off over there and then waiting for us to come back. They've got, the demand both ways. So it's very beneficial.
So what can you tell us about, let's look at geological and publicity changes. Has this affected these travel hotspots? Well, you've just said that, didn't you? Yeah,
well, pretty much. I mean, I was in Turkey last summer just after the failed coup, and it was very quiet over there. Turkey's a lovely destination, but of course, when you've just had a failed coup and there's been bombing since in a lot of the main cities, that's obviously going to put people off. So people are looking at where else they can travel, and that's leading to a bit of a split. So people are either returning to those very popular destinations that we've always been to. So Spain and Portugal, they're going to be rammed this summer, as because there's a lot more capacities going in there. The hotels will be full, and unfortunately, the flip side to that, alongside Brexit as well, means that they'll probably be a little bit more expensive. Or people are going a little bit further afield, and they're seeing India and China, Cuba, and then every so often, you get a kind of a strange country or a strange destination that creeps in there as well. And this year it's Iceland, and the reason behind that seems to be because they beat us at football last year and kind of embarrassed us.
Well, to be honest with you, when I saw the survey, I actually thought Iceland of all places, but I said, well, it's too cold for me anyway, right?
Yeah, me too.
So Paul, let's talk about your morning, right? You're having a blue Monday morning, right?
I had one this morning, yeah. The weather is horrible. I got soaked on the way into the studio. The train was late. My colleague had her train delayed. It was, invading of personal space once you get on the train. It's the most unpopular and kind of uncomfortable journey that you can have. And as I said, and literally as I left, the postman came and he did give me the credit card bill for December, and it was okay.
I normally, when I see my postman coming out the front, I run up through the back. But let's just say, on the fact that you're having a blue morning, right? What would you suggest to get someone else who are listening right now out of that slump?
Oh, well, I think it is. It's search for your holiday, isn't it? It's the first thing that we all want to do. I mean, we've talked a lot about, and there's not necessarily everyone's going to have a lot of money this summer, but you see from a travel industry perspective that people still want to travel. They still want to go on holiday. I saw a quote from one of the major chief execs within the holiday industry last week, and it said people will, forego a three-piece suit, or they'll forego a new telly or a new fridge, but what they won't do is give up on their holiday. That doesn't mean that the industry is blasé in the way that it promotes itself or markets itself, but they also know that, as long as they produce the product that the customers want and they do it at a reasonable price, then people will travel, because we have to travel, don't we? Because
that's true.
We've got no idea whether we're going to get a summer. Our summer could be exactly like the weather I experienced this morning.
Well, I understand that. And finally, Paul, I'm going to put this one to you right now. A lot in the survey suggests that a lot of people will be visiting the UK. There'll be a rise in people coming and spending here in the UK, right? Why is this? Is it because of Brexit got something to do with this? The pound getting,
In part, yeah. I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about with particularly India and China. These new markets are opening up. These new routes are coming up. So the Chinese and Indians in particular are very keen to come over. They want to experience the UK. And Brexit and the impact it's had on the pound has meant that it's cheaper for them to come over it. Unfortunately, that means for us it's going to be a little bit more expensive when we want to go on holiday. But from an inbound perspective, it's great. So it's made it cheaper for these new and emerging sets of tourists to come over. And then at the same time, the Europeans and the Americans, the traditional holiday makers that we've had, they're coming over in their droves. So they reckon for 2017 that there'll be spend from overseas tourists of more than 24 billion.
Okay.
And we'll be looking at 38.1 million tourists coming to the UK next year.
It's got to be great for all major cities in the UK.
That's it, so all the businesses that are linked and associated to the tourism, fingers crossed, will all have good years this year.
Absolutely fantastic. Paul, what website can we go to get this information?
So obviously, as you said, we're World Travel Market. So if you come along to WTMLondon.com, and then you can find out more about the survey and also find out more about the tourism industry in general.
Absolutely fantastic. Paul, pleasure talking to you.
You too. Take care.
All the best for today.
Thank you.